Hello folks, my name is Mark. This is Why I Hate the World. No artwork again this time because we're talking about the complete travesty of a ruling that came from the Supreme Court yesterday. This one having to do with immunity for Donald Trump. Not looking good, folks. Long story short, this is what this decision does. President has absolute immunity for any official act within the powers of the president granted by the Constitution. There's no criteria listed for as to what constitutes an actual official act, and prosecutors cannot investigate any official act to determine if the motive for such an act was criminal. So the exact quote is, in dividing official from unofficial conduct, courts may not inquire into the president's motives. So that means any evidence concerning acts for which the president is immune can play no role in a criminal prosecution against him, which basically means that the president, if he just wants to break the law, then all he has to do is just say it's an official act and he gets away with it scot-free. There's nothing that any prosecutor or any court can do to hold him accountable because he's immune. Now remember, immune doesn't mean that it's not a defense against the law. It means that the law does not apply to you. This means that the president is above the law now, as long as it's an official act. That's what fascism is, right? It's using the power of the state and the weight of the law in order to benefit few and to the exclusion of everyone else. And that's exactly what the Supreme Court has done for the President of the United States now. So it should be no surprise to you then to see that Donald Trump has filed a motion with his hush money conviction saying that, well, this ruling gives him immunity because some of the evidence they used there was from his time in the White House. Those are official acts. Like signing a fucking check to pay off a porn star that you banged while your wife just gave birth and shit before you were president. That is somehow an official act of the president granted by the Constitution. It's a fucking joke. I mean, will he get a new trial out of it? I don't know. Will he delay his sentencing? That was supposed to happen on the 11th, probably. It basically means that he's gonna get away with it. It's already happening. This and all of the other things that he has been charged with, all the other 92 fucking felonies or whatever, indictments that he's had. He's going to get off. He's going to get away with it, and the Supreme Court is making it fucking happen. I mean, this basically turns us into Russia. This is the kind of protections that Putin has. Putin could do whatever he wants, right? He can kill his own cabinet members. He can throw his generals out of fucking windows. He can arrest and murder journalists. He can assassinate political dissidents, right? There's stories of that, of people political dissidents leaving the country because they're afraid for their lives and shit, and Putin poisons them with fucking polonium-90 and shit like that, right? This is all real. Rigging elections in his favor. Have you ever seen what an election looks like in Russia? They'll take a guy and then here's his candidate, and then there's another guy that has the exact same fucking name as his candidate, and there'll be three of those, and it's the exact same name, and you don't know which one you're voting for because it's all a sham, because we all know the election is fucking rigged for Putin. Right? You can invade any fucking country once and nobody can do a goddamn thing about it because he'll just kill you. That's what they're going to do to the United States. That's the kind of power that the president of the United States will have. Right? And nobody can do a goddamn thing about it. And when Trump wins in November, which it looks like he's going to, I'm sorry, the polls don't lie. That's exactly what he's going to fucking do. In 1923, Hitler was put in jail for an attempted coup d'etat. Okay. Within 10 years after that, he was president. And the same year he was elected, the Reichstag passed an act called the Enabling Act of 1933, which essentially gave the executive branch the ability to create and enforce their own laws. And that was it. Democracy in Germany was over. 11 years after that event, Adolf Hitler was dead, Germany was in ruins, and 70 to 85 million people worldwide were dead because of World War II. I mean, am I the only one that can see the parallels here, right? And if you don't think that shit can happen here, yes, it can. Yes, it can. And it starts with making the president above the law, just like fucking Hitler was, just like Putin is, right? We can't allow that shit to happen here. Do you care about your country? Right? Do you care about the lives of your fellow citizens and their well-being and the future for your children and your grandchildren? Then we can't allow this shit to happen. We have one chance to stop this, and that is to vote against Trump in November. All of the other shit you cared about, the environment and the war in Israel and, the Palestinians being genocided and all of that shit in the economy, none of that shit matters now. All of that stuff is secondary. The real thing that you need to worry about is this: preventing a fucking dictator from taking over the country, because that's what's going to fucking happen in November if you allow Trump to win. All right? And, the thing is, this can be reversed if we prevent fascists from taking over the fucking government. We can reverse this, okay? The Supreme Court is not permanently a 6'3" thing. No. Clarence Thomas is fucking 76 years old. All right. Samuel Alito is 74. Sonia Sotomayor is 70. All right. At any given time, any of those people could drop dead tomorrow of a heart attack or something. Right. And whoever the next president is going to be able to fill some of those seats. We very well could have a 5-4 liberal court in 4 years. Or if Trump wins and he's allowed to appoint 3 more fucking justices, we could have a 9-0 fucking court. All right. That's what's going to fucking happen. Okay. So any of you out there who are still pissed at Biden, saying pissed at the Democrats, whatever, blaming them for all this shit, who cares? This is what fucking matters now. Do you care about the United States? Do you care about your country? Do you care about your life and the life of your family? Then get the fuck out there and vote this November. This is it. This is it. All right. If you don't vote this November, it's over. And for all of my friends out there on the left who say, "Oh, we already live in fascism," that's the response I get from people saying, "Oh, we already live in a fascist country." You have no idea how bad it could possibly fucking get. We don't live in fascism now. We will if we allow a fascist to take over in November. For the love of fucking God, folks. People, please vote. Anyway, adios.
Hello folks, if you like what I do and you want to support the channel, please consider buying something from my Etsy shop, supporting me on Patreon, liking and subscribing, and checking me out across my social media links listed below. Thank you all so much, and see you next time.